My name is Moshe Barel, and I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of AccuLine. We are developing CORA, which is a device for the early detection of coronary artery disease, aiming to prevent heart attacks. So heart attacks are the number one cause of death globally, with 16 million cases every year, or one every 2 seconds if you want. And the main problem is that there is no early warning. This is why they are called heart attacks. They attack you. And the thing is that primary care physicians, they don't have an exam in their clinics which could assess the patient's risk to have coronary artery disease, which is the narrowing or blockage of their coronary arteries. And we want to solve this problem. We want to give them a solution in their hands that within 5 minutes, they could know if that patient is in high risk to get a heart attack in the near future. The current standards of care today for the primary care physician, when he gets a patient where he suspects might have coronary artery disease, he would use the ECG stress test or the ergometry exams as his frontline tools. Now, the problem or the problems with this exam is that, firstly, they're inaccurate, completely inaccurate. There are guidelines in the US against using them for low and moderate risk patients. Other than that, they're expensive, labor intensive, time consuming. You have to go to the hospital, and they include stress. Not many patients could take the exam. So we want to replace this frontline exam that the doctors are using less and less these days with our exam, which they could do at their clinic in 4 minutes. The CORA, it's a device, touchscreen, portable, mobile, lightweight desktop that has 5 ECG leads like any other ECG devices, but it's ours, and an SpO2 sensor on the figure for a pulse oximeter. And we hook the patient. It's a sedentary exam, 4 minutes. He has to wear those ECG leads, one on each limb and one on the chest, and the SpO2 sensor on the finger. That's it. It's cloud connected. It has a Wi-Fi connectivity. It has also eSIM connectivity, so it could be operated virtually everywhere in the world. You don't have to have a physician present, any nurse, technician, or basically any healthcare professional could operate it. And we have a cloud platform, so you could access the results and the exams anywhere in the world. Therefore, we could also provide solution for remote rural areas. So AccuLine was established in Israel and is currently operating in Israel near Tel Aviv. However, our plans is to move the company to the US, to have two entities, the US entity and the Israeli entity, having the US entity being the owner of the Israeli entity. And that would facilitate us getting closer to the market, doing the study for the FDA, afterwards sales and marketing. Fundraising obviously is an important factor for that. And the US is the main and pretty much only target territory for us. So we are aligning all of our assets and I would say efforts in the US market, and therefore we need to be closer to the market. So as of next year, we would also have a US presence. So as for me, I have more than 20 years of experience in the healthcare business. Worked for J&J as cardiovascular business unit in Israel, then for Luminous as EMEA business unit director. And then I moved to the startup world. This is the third startup that I'm leading as a CEO. And I'm also a lecturer in the Hebrew University. I have three great co-founders. Our CDO has more than 40 years of experience in developing numerous technologies and solutions in very different verticals, aerospace, fintech, high-tech, medical devices. Our chief medical officer is a professor of cardiology in Israel, and our chief scientific officer is professor of computer science in University of Michigan. So really smart people, very dedicated, very experienced, and I'm lucky to have them. So in AccuLine, we've been established for 2.5 years ago. We have a first clinical study of 100 patients with excellent clinical results. We conducted a second clinical study on 300 patients in 7 medical centers in Israel, and we're currently working on the training and validation of the algorithm. Next year, we intend to do the IDE study in the US in order to get an FDA approval. So fundraising is the most important part in a startup because it enables everything else to happen. I'm lucky to say that up to date, we raised $5.5 million in 2 rounds, a pre-seed and a seed round. Our seed round was just completed a few months ago, $4.2 million US. We have Israeli VC investing in us, an Israeli healthcare organization, Maccabi. eHealth Ventures is the Israeli VC. We got a grant from Google. We got 2 grants from the Israeli Innovation Authority, and we have Mayo Clinic investing in us also, and we have with them also a know-how agreement. So we have very strong partners, very good partners, and they're supporting us all the way. Our next round, round A, would be mid next year, mid 2025, and it's going to be anywhere between 7 to 10 million US dollars. Part of the reason we are going to move to the US is to facilitate that round as well. This is the key. You need to keep raising money all the time. It would enable us to do all the plans that we have. But it's a challenge. It's always a challenge, definitely as an Israeli startup. But also in the global macroeconomics, it's not easy to raise funds. But we're optimistic and confident, and we are happy to have the partners that we have today. And at AccuLine, we are really trying to understand what is our pathway to reimbursement. FDA is a important milestone, but for us, the end game is to get reimbursement. So before we start the clinical study, we are now engaging with consultancy firms in the US to provide us with a reimbursement pathway. Although it's going to take many years from now, 5 to 7 years to get a CPT code and coverage and everything, we want to understand what would be favorable in the eyes of the insurance companies, the payers, and then reverse engineer that back to what are the claims and indications for use that we are going to ask the FDA to get approval on. And then we are going to do the study design based on that. And that's going to lead us to the FDA pre-submission that we are going to do within a few months. So the thinking is about the endgame reimbursement going all the way back today. So all our sites are aligned on the ball, which is getting coverage in few years' time. So that's the way that we're working. And this is what we're working on now. So AccuLine is targeting really the holy grail in medicine, being able to forecast who is going to get a heart attack, not hours or days or week before, even years before. And that's a huge market. I mean, heart attacks are the number one cause of death globally, and doctors don't have the solution in hand. There are so many exams that they send their patients to. The market is estimated at around 8 billion US dollars on exams, treatments, and heart attacks the patient get. It places a crushing burden on the US healthcare system of more than 220 billion US dollars every year due to coronary artery disease, which leads to heart attacks. So we're dealing with a huge market, huge unmet need. And if we could solve even a part of that and alleviate the problem that heart attacks cause, that's a huge opportunity for investment. I'm not talking about the good that we are going to do to the world, but in the way we're going to save a lot of money for the insurance companies on unnecessary exams from one hand, and on the other on treating patients after they got a heart attack. And studies show that a patient with after a heart attack, the treatment cost could get anywhere between $100,000 to $1 million if he needs a surgery on the lifetime of that patient. So we could save a lot of money for both ends, and we could also create money for the primary care physicians using our device and charging their patients for that. So it's like a win-win situation for everyone, but having the patient at the center of all of that. This is what really drives us. As I mentioned, I saw what it happens when a person get a heart attack in the middle of the life, and I want to prevent that from happening to other families. So it's huge market, huge unmet need, and we are very happy that we are in this journey, and we hope to be successful, and we hope that you join us and support us in that.